Jesus said to his disciples, "Gird your loins and light your lamps, and be like servants who await their master's return from a wedding, ready to open immediately when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds vigilant on his arrival. I say to you, he will gird himself, have them recline at table, and proceed to wait on them. And should he come in the second or third watch and find them prepared in this way, blessed are those servants." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
The other night, I finished signing up online regarding those who will be informed if tickets are already available for Miss Saigon in Manila. And after signing up, I received quite a number of emails, like instructing me how to tell my friends if they also want to avail of the priority. And I realized I was in for a trap, like a trap of consumerism, having all those instructions, waiting for priority tickets. It's like falling into the trap of, as I've said, consumerism. I felt like a slave being driven by the master to be vigilant about the announcement. And so I said, never mind. I canceled that email subscription. I don't like to be feeling like a servant and having to wait for something that's just about consumption. Even if I feel excited about that musical. We don't have the experience, perhaps, of being servants. Like, come to think of it, who is a servant among us here? I felt like being a servant, but in another way, in a consumerist way, but not really a servant in the sense of the servants here. So in that sense, we do not have access to the joy of a servant that is being depicted in the gospel today. Like, blessed are those servants. How is that? How will I feel that? How will I have access to that when in the first place, I do not have an experience of being a servant? I recall a certain group of indigenous peoples we have back in the Philippines, whom I could think to be kind of the picture from the very gospel itself, from the very costume that they have in the northern Philippines. Even if it is cold there, their costume is about a gird on the loin, literally just a gird on the loin. Not so many shirts in the upper garments, but literally girding their loins with indigenously woven cloths. So they gird their loins. But that was not the point. When the COVID lockdown was announced, I could not forget it. When COVID lockdown was announced, the fear of everyone is that, where are we going to get our food? We are in the city. Transport will be stopped. All movements will be stopped. How are we going to get our food? But their announcement was, and that one I could never forget. The mayor went on national TV. He's also the indigenous leader, to announce something like this: don't worry about us. It's just to tell everybody, don't worry about us. We are okay. We have enough rice. we have enough meat. We have enough vegetables. So don't worry about us. Maybe tell us how we can help you. We can send you rice, we can send you vegetables and meat. Come to think of it, they are so isolated. They are hill tribes. They live in the mountains. And yet here they are announcing on national television, don't worry about us. We worry about you. They are not slaves to consumerism. Neither are they slaves to the political and economic order of those living in the lowlands. They do not have big malls, nor their economies in that sense rich, but neither are their economies controlled by monopolies. That is why they are free. They are free to serve us. And then I realized that is the happiness of a servant. Serving not big capital, but really serving people and really able from their own capacities to feed not just themselves, but us. And it's not really a mistake in that sense. That's not my first time to appreciate them. Even before COVID, I would bring my graduate classes to the museums in northern Philippines because they showcase their rituals. And their rituals would allow you to understand how throughout the year nobody is poor because everybody has work to do. Everybody is a servant. This is not just about human voluntarism. No. It has something to do with political and economic leadership, really. How to be a leader. How to be a leader. The being leader is measured by the capacity to feed. But the capacity to feed is measured by the capacity to organize people for work. So it has something to do with a political leadership that is different from the way we conceive political leadership again in the lowlands. Like elections, democratic elections, voting, not that kind. But really the kind of, if I want to be a leader, then I have to feed 30 people. If I can feed 30 people, I have a little badge that I have fed 30 people in the community. But later on, I can feed 100 people and maybe 1,000 people, then I become a mayor, etc. So to be a president of a nation means I can feed the nation. The nation will not go hungry. Very literally like fulfilling the demands of the plenary council of the church, which says nobody should be so rich as to have nothing to give. Sorry, nobody is so rich as to have nothing to receive. And nobody is so poor as to have nothing to give. If we realize this, then this is the task, the challenge that Jesus has thrown to us listening to today's gospel. Blessed will we be if we become servants like this. Not so rich so as not to be capable of receiving. Not so poor so as not to be capable of giving.